O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant, and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head.
Believers war, where stories come alive.
Hannah. Her name carries the weight of longing, hope, and faith. She was a woman of grace and dignity, but her heart ached with a void that no human comfort could fill. In the ancient hills of Ephraim, she lived with her husband, Elkanah, a man of good heart and steadfast love. Yet even in a home filled with devotion, her soul wrestled with sorrow. Elkanah had another wife, Peninnah, who bore him many children. Peninnah's fertile womb was her pride and her weapon. Year after year she flaunted her blessings and needled Hannah's pain. Her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. 1 Samuel 1:6-7, NIV. Despite the hurt, Hannah remained silent, enduring Peninnah's taunts with grace. Elkanah tried to comfort her, saying, "Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" 1 Samuel 1:8. But even his love could not fill the void in her heart. Though Elkanah loved Hannah deeply, his attempts to soothe her grief could not quiet the echo of her unspoken prayer. "Lord, remember me." In those days, to be childless was to bear the shame of inadequacy. Hannah carried that burden daily, her heart heavy as she walked through her duties. Yet she remained kind, never retaliating against Peninnah's taunts. Instead, she turned her face toward heaven. Every year their family journeyed to Shiloh to offer sacrifices at the tabernacle of the Lord. It was a time of celebration for most, but for Hannah, it was a reminder of what she lacked. On one such visit, the ache in her heart overwhelmed her. Hannah slipped away from the feast, leaving behind the laughter and the hum of conversation. Kneeling at the entrance to the tabernacle, she poured her heart out to God. Her lips moved, but no sound escaped. Tears streamed down her face as she made a vow.
O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant, and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head.
As she prayed, Eli the priest watched her from a distance. Misunderstanding her silent anguish, he approached and accused her of being drunk. But Hannah, with her characteristic grace, explained,
"Not so, my lord. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord."
Eli's countenance softened, and he blessed her, saying,
Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him.
Hannah left Shiloh that day with a renewed spirit. The shadow of despair had lifted, replaced by a quiet confidence in God's faithfulness. True to his nature, the Lord remembered Hannah. In time she conceived and bore a son. She named him Samuel, saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." 1 Samuel 1:20. Samuel. The name would echo through generations as a testament to God's faithfulness. Hannah cherished every moment with her son, knowing that she had promised him to the Lord. When the time came, she returned to Shiloh, not with sorrow, but with joy. She brought Samuel to Eli and said,
I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord.
1 Samuel 1:27-28. As she surrendered her beloved son to the Lord, Hannah's heart overflowed with praise. Her prayer, recorded in 1 Samuel 2:1-10, is a masterpiece of faith and gratitude.
My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance.
Hannah's song celebrated God's justice and sovereignty, proclaiming his power to lift the lowly and humble the proud.
The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor.
Samuel grew under the care of Eli and became one of Israel's greatest prophets, a man through whom God's voice shaped the destiny of a nation. His life was a testimony to the faith of his mother, who dared to trust in God's promises. Hannah's story is a beacon of hope for all who carry unspoken prayers. It reminds us that the God who remembered Hannah still hears the cries of his people and answers in his perfect time. Her story is not just one of motherhood, but of surrender, trust, and worship. Her life reminds us that even in our deepest longing, God is at work, weaving a story far greater than we can imagine.